Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for June 7th. June 7th is the 158th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 159th in leap years, with 207 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is Socratic Method. Socratic Method is a noun. It's a teaching method, which instead of giving the answer, the teacher guides students to it by asking them a series of questions. It's a pretty effective way of teaching, actually. It's named after the Greek philosopher Socrates, who lived from about 470 to 399 BC. He employed this method in his teaching. Earliest documented use of the term Socratic method was 1741. Incidentally, Socrates' wife, Xanthippe, has also given us an eponym, and we'll look at that one tomorrow. Yeah. And with that, we're going to start in the year 1654, when Louis XIV was crowned King of France on June 7th. This is the birthday of Dr. James Simpson, born June 7th, 1811. He was the first physician to demonstrate the anesthetic properties of chloroform on humans and helped popularize the drug's use in medicine. He lived to the age of 58. On June 7, 1832, cholera arrived in Quebec, brought by Irish immigrants. It killed about 6,000 people in Lower Canada. Cholera is an infection of the small intestine by some strains of the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. Symptoms may range from none to mild to severe. The classic symptom is large amounts of watery diarrhea that lasts a few days. Vomiting and muscle cramps may also occur. The diarrhea can be so severe that it leads within hours to severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, which I think may be what causes the muscle spasms. This may result in sunken eyes, cold skin, decreased skin elasticity, and wrinkling of the hands and feet. Dehydration can cause the skin to turn bluish. Symptoms start 2 hours to 5 days after exposure. Cholera caused more deaths more quickly than any other epidemic disease in the 19th century. The medical community now believes cholera to be exclusively a human disease transmitted through warm, fecal-contaminated river waters and contaminated foods. Another excellent reason to practice good personal cleanliness and to wash your hands frequently. June 7, 1832, United States and the United Kingdom signed the Lyons-Seward Treaty to suppress slave trade. This was an aggressive measure to end the Atlantic slave trade. This is the birthday of French painter and sculptor Paul Gauguin, born June 7, 1848. Unappreciated as an artist during his lifetime, he lived to the age of 54. This is the birthday of American baseball player and manager Bones Ely, born June 7, 1863. Bones, isn't that a great name? His birth certificate name was William Frederick Ely, but I think Bones is a pretty cool name. He lived to the age of 88. On June 7, 1892, Homer Plessy was arrested for refusing to leave his seat in the whites-only car of a train. He lost the resulting case of Plessy versus Ferguson. This is the birthday of American Lieutenant and pilot Douglas Campbell, born June 7, 1896. He was an American aviator and World War I flying ace and was the first American aviator flying in an American-trained air unit to achieve the status of ace. He lived to the age of 94. On June 7, 1899, American temperance crusader Carrie Nation began her campaign of vandalizing alcohol-serving establishments by destroying the inventory in a saloon in Kiowa, Kansas. The Cunard Line's RMS Lusitania was launched from the John Brown shipyard in Glasgow, Scotland on June 7, 1906. This is the birthday of English-American actress Jessica Tandy, born June 7, 1909. She appeared in over 100 stage productions and had more than 60 roles on film and TV, and became the oldest actress to receive the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Driving Miss Daisy. What a great movie. She lived to the age of 85. Oh my goodness, this is the birthday of American singer, actor, and producer Dean Martin, born June 7th, 1917. Nicknamed the King of Cool for his seemingly effortless charisma and self-assurance, his first language was Italian, and he did not speak English until he started school at the age of 5. He was bullied for his broken English. He had some interesting jobs before he came to show business, and his show business career really took off when he teamed up with Jerry Lewis, Martin and Lewis. He couldn't read music, but he recorded more than 100 albums and 600 songs. It's said that Elvis Presley was a fan of Dean Martin and patterned his performance of Love Me Tender after Martin's style. That makes sense. There's a lot more to tell about him, but we still have other news to tell, so I'll wrap this up by saying that Dean Martin lived to the age of 78. The Douglas DC-4E made its first test flight on June 7, 1938. Imperial Japanese soldiers began occupying the American islands of Attu and Kiska in the Aleutian Islands of Alaska on June 7, 1942. On June 7, 1946, the United Kingdom's BBC returned to broadcasting its television service, which had been off the air for 7 years because of the Second World War. This is the birthday of American businessman Jim Walton, born June 7, 1948. The Lux Radio Theater show launched in New York in 1934 and featured radio adaptations of Broadway shows and popular films. They signed off the air permanently on June 7, 1955. This is the birthday of American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, producer, and actor Prince, born June 7, 1958. He sold over 100 million records worldwide, ranking him among the best-selling music artists of all time. Sadly, he died of an accidental fentanyl overdose in 2016. He was 57. On June 7, 1965, the Supreme Court of the United States handed down its decision in Griswold versus Connecticut, prohibiting states from criminalizing the use of contraception by married couples. And I was actually surprised that that happened as late as 1965. On June 7, 1971, the United States Supreme Court overturned the conviction of Paul Cohen for disturbing the peace, setting the precedent that vulgar writing is protected under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. On June 7, 1977, 500 million people watched the high day of the Silver Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II on television. Priscilla Presley opened Graceland to the public on June 7, 1982. The bathroom, where Elvis Presley died 5 years earlier, was kept off limits, though. And I think that's going to do it for us today. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and feel free to share this. You can do that with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. Images are retrieved from Bing Images, either public domain or licensed free to use and share. I think the correct terminology is free to share and use. Our lovely outro music is Divine Life Society by Jesse Gallagher from YouTube Music Library, and there's a link to his channel in the show notes. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Okay, do that again. We'll do that in a minute. Thank you. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.